Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today I want to share with you a clip from a recent live event where myself and Gathering the Magic are going to talk about SPS, voucher pricing, the future appreciation of these assets, soul-bound reward cards and how to do them right. And lastly, we're talking about bot farms and the problem that they pose and maybe how to solve it. There's a ton of topics in this conversation. It was a great conversation with Gathering. I hope you'll stick around and enjoy this, and also check out his channel. He's got some amazing Splinterlands content and you'll definitely enjoy it. Have an amazing day. God bless. Okay, yeah,
On December 19th.
Splinterlands Soulbound Reward Card Solution, introducing Splinter Coins.
Yes.
Yeah, guys, he's got 211 views, so maybe you all saw that. But if you didn't, you should. And I'm just gonna grab a drink here. Hang on. So, dude, tell the people a little bit about yourself. Like, how did you? And tell me too, because this is the first time we've spoken directly. Tell me more about like your story. Like, how did you get here? You're a Magic the Gathering guy, but like, just walk me through a bit of your start with Splinterlands and maybe with blockchain. And yeah, thank you.
Well, let's see. I think the first time that I actually saw Splinterlands was probably in 2019. My wife and I were living in an apartment while our house was being built, and I kind of remember seeing an ad, I don't know if it was a Brave ad or what, about Splinterlands. So I checked it out, and honestly, the first thing I thought when I saw it was the art looks cartoonish. So that kind of turned me off. I think it was probably beta or unlimited. It would have been probably February, I want to say, of 2019. Okay. So I was thinking about joining, and then I saw that there was like a $10 cost to get your spellbook, and that turned me off because I was like, oh, that's the last thing I need is to start spending a ton of money when we're just going to move into our house.
Yeah.
So flash forward to July 2021. I had started getting into crypto a little bit the fall before, and there was a show that I watched called Crypto Banter, and the two main guys on the show were playing Splinterlands.
Oh, cool.
And I thought, oh, I remember that game. So I went on the site, they had a link, made a $10 account, and basically just went from there. My wife and I joined, I think it was the day before the airdrop started.
For
so
SPS?
We kind of got in at the perfect time.
For the SPS airdrops?
Yep, for the SPS airdrops.
Cool. Yeah, hang on. Yeah, that was an exciting time. I remember the SPS starting, and I was thinking to myself, oh man, I wish I bought the pre-sale, because I think you needed to be like an accredited investor though. But man, they were buying it for like 2 cents, I think. And then of course we shot up pretty high. As any sort of new coin will at the beginning of its launch, there's just limited liquidity. And then you see those higher prices because of that, because there's a few interested buyers, but there's almost no sellers. So we saw 95 cents according to Live Coin Watch, and I think it might have been higher by other estimates. Now we're at 2.4 cents. Yeah, I mean, that was, what did you do? Tell me what you did with SPS. Like, how did that work? Did you just accumulate, or did you sell, or how did you play out in that early months?
I didn't get a lot of SPS in the first few months because I didn't have a lot of money in the game. I didn't have a lot of cards. I was basically just starting from scratch. The first SPS I think that I actually bought, at least a significant amount, was this past February. I remember I bought SPS when it was around 14 cents. And I managed to get, I think, like 7,000 or 8,000 SPS at that point. Cool. Because I'm like you. I believe SPS is, I mean, you say $1, I see it going 3 to 5.
Yeah.
No time soon, but probably, 3, 4, 5 years down the road.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I say $1 because I think that blows most people's minds, and yet I think it's really conservative. I think if you look at validator nodes, and I think you've covered these too, but validator nodes to me tell a story of where we can imagine things going, because the node prices for them to sell, the SPS and DC or SPS and voucher prices need to go far higher before those new sales will be justifiable. I forget the mechanics now, but yeah, the node licenses produce X amount of SPS and vouchers, and those prices like do not justify the purchase price of a node at this moment. But between the floor prices they allow for SPS, or no, for vouchers, I think it is. Yeah, they allow like a $3 floor price on vouchers, and vouchers are like pennies, man.
Hmm.
And so I think all of that, to me, just like you were saying with SPS, there's an implication to me about a staggered and long-term appreciation on those assets. Plus, SPS is limited. Like, yes, it's a huge number, but it ends like in 5 years from now. I think roughly it just stops being produced unless we create some sort of proposal where we want to create new SPS to incentivize the continued validation operation or something like that. I think I'm super. I think prices go really, really higher, and for just like you said.
Well,
But
I'm super bullish on vouchers. I mean, I think I actually that was one of the notes that I wrote down was why aren't more people getting into vouchers right now? Because the only way you can get vouchers are having staked SPS, which when I had 15,000 SPS staked, I think I was getting zero point 0.6 vouchers a day,
mm,
and then validator nodes. So yeah, I know there's not a lot of utility right now for vouchers, and they're 7 cents,
yeah,
but we've seen vouchers go 50 cents to a dollar. So
yeah,
to me, the easiest asset in Splinterlands that can 5x, 10x, 20x are going to be vouchers. So
mm,
part of my strategy is when I get my GLX airdrops every day, what I'm doing is I'm taking half of it and just putting it in the vouchers and just
interesting,
building up as many vouchers as I can. I
interesting.
mean, SPS is going to 10x, but no time soon. DEC, we kind of know the ceiling is going to be 1,000 per dollar. Vouchers really don't have a ceiling, and the ceiling that we have seen, roughly a dollar, when a new set comes out, like Rebellion,
Hmm.
like you can't tell me that vouchers are going to be 7 cents when Rebellion comes out, and you
Yeah,
need one voucher per pack.
I know.
Whether it's 50 cents a dollar, I don't know, but I know it's a 7x or more from where we are now. So
Yeah,
that's why I'm loading up now.
yeah. I think I hear you, and I think that makes a lot of sense to me, especially when you compare it to say where the explosive nature of SPS or DC. I think you're making a strong point that this is the one that's most poised for kind of a shorter term price appreciation. Because Rebellion is when April, March, June, something. It's like June maybe next year,
Hmm.
something like that. So
Yeah,
it's not
somewhere in there.
that's not far away. I mean, this is like these to me. You're making one point why vouchers have a real fundamental possibility for appreciation. I would argue that's just that's a known value. I think there's also gonna we've constantly heard there'll be more and more things that will be used for vouchers, and that
Planned.
voucher and I think that's a place where when they say that, I trust them. And some people have accused me of having blind faith around that. Can maybe let me have your opinion on this question. If Do you put much weight in this implications from the team that vouchers will have increasing utility, not just from things like the Rebellion packs or from, in this case, Rift Watcher packs or whatever pack, because that's like a once in a while desire and need. We need, I think, sustainable justification for holding SP or vouchers so that
Yep.
they would then appreciate. Do you see and that their comments hold a lot of weight? Do you believe that? If you have doubts, let me hear that around the implication that vouchers will be more needed in the future.
Yeah, I think vouchers are definitely going to be needed in the future and probably right around the corner sooner than people think. Specifically, land. I think land would be a fantastic voucher sink.
Mm,
Just for something as simple as when you use your buildings and your buildings need to get repaired. Is the repair cost going to be simply like wood or stone? Is it going to be you have to spend 300 DEC, or is it going to be, hey, spend a voucher? They've
mm,
also talked about traveling in land to travel from one area to another. Think of a voucher as kind of like a train ticket. Spend a voucher and you instantly travel to that other area on the map. I mean, there's a lot of things they can do, and I think they will
Yeah.
implement a lot of voucher syncs in the future.
Yeah.
The key is going to be when it is a repeatable sync and it in small amounts,
Yeah.
like say one voucher here, two vouchers there.
Yeah.
I think the problem that they've had with vouchers is you need to have 100 or 500 or 1,000.
Yeah.
And most players don't have that, but
Mhm.
a lot of players may have 10, 20, 30 vouchers just sitting on the sidelines they can't do anything with. But if it's like, hey, if I spend a voucher and I can instantly repair my buildings so I can start producing more things on my land, people are going to start just burning through these vouchers. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's another reason why I'm accumulating now before the known sinks are basically known to the public.
Yeah, that makes sense to me, especially what you said around the voucher burning mechanics need to reach to the place where it's going to be these smaller increments. Because you're right, like when Rift Vouchers comes out and it's like, hey, if you buy 10,000 packs and you have 2,000 vouchers, then you'll get 2,000 free packs. Like, okay, great, but that's what there's is there 100 people that take advantage of that? I mean, it's not tens of thousands of people. It's not every single day. And a point I wanted to add there is those sorts of sinks, those big sinks for those gigantic buys happen not just few times, but irregularly and all at once, and then silence for like months and months. And
Exactly.
that translates to, you can see price spike from, maybe it goes from 7 cents to 10 cents before something like Rebellion, because smart people who want to do those gigantic buys are accumulating them daily now, so they don't have to panic buy them later. And then there's only really a few people who aren't prepared. But that's only possible. That sort of lack of craziness is possible because there's not a daily need, or maybe a regular need, or a regular justification for burning one or two here or there. And I like what you said. It made me smile thinking about like a train ticket, because it's thematically kind of appropriate too. It's a voucher. It's like a, so it kind of, and we've got this universe, this land that we could theoretically navigate. And you're right, they've implied that we will. I think that's cool, man. I think that makes a lot of sense. And if it was just
What
one,
about vouchers also used to level your buildings?
yeah,
Like in the beginning of when we start building our buildings, of course, no one's going to have any resources. So I'm thinking to build your building from level 0 to 1 is probably going to be like guilds, where all you spend is DEC. Maybe say, hey, level 1 building, 1 voucher. You want to upgrade it to 2 vouchers, level 3, whatever it costs, 3 vouchers, and so on.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. And I think it all points back to your point around the price being really inexpensive. I'm not so convinced that it will wildly appreciate before Rebellion, but I am convinced that it will wildly appreciate, and that it is, your point of it being probably the first that would see that sort of opportunity makes sense too, because there's lots of like obvious burn mechanics that we already have, and there's others that can be introduced and that should be introduced. And it just, I do,
Leveling your soulbound cards,
yeah,
burn vouchers, and help level your cards.
mm-hmm.
I think that would be a great sync if you tie it to a dollar amount. I mean, you don't want to say 1 voucher basically levels your card, 1 BCX worth, because if vouchers go from 7 cents to $1, it wouldn't make sense. But let's say, like I had the idea for Splinter coins for soulbound cards. Let's say you tie a 5-cent value to each coin, and it takes 60 BCX to get a common to level 5.
Yep.
And you say each BCX is 5 cents, then just say every 5 cents of vouchers that you spend is 1 coin to help level your cards. That would be a great sync for vouchers and a great sync for DEC to start getting rid of that.
Yeah, I agree. And you're totally right. You wouldn't want to say 1 voucher, because or 1 anything, Splinter coin even, because like if there's a real world opportunity to buy those things, like you talked about, maybe I could put fiat currency to buy more Splinter coins so that I could buy more of these soulbound assets, then it's conceivable that there'd be the price of these the price of an asset can detach from US dollar value. And so it's like, just let the US dollar value be the governing factor. Is it one voucher? Is it 50? Is it one Splinter coin? Is it 50? Like, just the USD value underlying it could be. And that's where we're at right now with SPS. And when you buy Rift Watcher packs, you need $5 worth of SPS, which is part of the reason why I just refuse to buy Rift Watcher packs with SPS. I'm buying some with DEC right now because I'm interested a lot. I think Rift Watcher is quite powerful, and I don't want to derail, but I love Rift Watcher. I think it's a really interesting and powerful pack. But actually, you brought up the Soulbound reward cards. Let's focus there for a few minutes because I do think that's really I think that's one of the things that's happening for sure. I think the team is excited about it. I think it seems to solve a lot of the concerns around bot armies. It's not going to fix it perfectly, but in my view, it would be providing one significant financial reward. Yes, it is financial to a player like yourself, because it's going to give you these assets that you can play with that can translate into more wins, which is more rewards from the game. So I think of it as a financial thing, but I also think of it as an appreciation to real fans of the game more than a financial benefit in the short term. And so I think that is going to incentivize human players who love the game and disincentivize, or at least be neutral to, bot farms who really couldn't care less about the accumulation of things that they can't liquidate. What do you think about that? Do you think I'm right about that, or do you think I'm like missing the point on something? Let me know just your thoughts on the why is it so beneficial? Because it seems like you think soulbound cards are going to be beneficial.
Yeah, I think soulbound cards would solve a lot of issues. For one, it would solve the print rate issue that they have with reward cards, because the cards that are soulbound are strictly in your account. So it really doesn't matter how many are printed because they can never be exchanged one for another. Now, one of the ideas that I did have for soulbound cards, and I think I covered it in the video, was, let's say as the years go by, your older soulbound reward cards aren't usable in the newer formats. Well, one idea I had was you could burn the old soulbound cards, get an equal number of coins, and then basically use those coins for the new soulbound reward cards. So it does give you a lot of flexibility that way.
Interesting. If you did that, you'd see, don't you think, this isn't a criticism, but an interesting note I'm thinking about that would mean you would see a significant amount of deletion of older assets because people chase new always. But some people would hold those old assets. There would be no financial direct sellable value for those. But I think certain older reward cards would become so rare. And I think we talked in comments.
But you're not burning them.
No,
you're swapping out. And if you wanted to, you could swap back.
That was going to be my next question, because you talked in one of your videos, and I kind of back and forth, we exchanged thoughts around what about being able to access old reward cards that are no longer in print or whatever, the soulbound ones. So you're saying you could just move from one to another. I almost think you'd want to limit the movement of one to another. Like maybe there'd be some sort of like deflation to that. Again, it doesn't matter because you're right. The print rates don't matter because there's no monetary value. But would it be, no, maybe not. Maybe it would be okay to just like burn one for the other. But I kind of
swapping. Now you could do like a cooldown effect so you can't constantly do it. Let's say you burn a card. Let's say it's a common from 2023 soulbound, and you want to get the current. Let's say we're in the year 2025. You want to get that version soulbound card. Burn the 2023 one for the 2025, and then maybe there's a week cooldown before you can burn that card to change it for another one. Something like that. So you have flexibility, but there is a little bit of a time limitation to it.
I think it would be cool if there was limiters on how that played, whether you just said cooldown or whether it was something like certain reward cards are available at certain seasons. Like there, you can imagine like an icy soul card, like a soul card that is like ice themed or that is like sun themed is available in a certain season of the year. And the reason I say that is because there's a window of time. Forget about like what you justify it however you want with lore, but there's a window of time where this card's available and not at other times, because I think that would create this sense of excitement in the moment for playing rather than I can get it whenever I want.
Okay. Yeah, I
And,
see what you're saying.
and so I don't know exactly how to think that through, but it might mean maybe when you trade from one card to another, you can do that. But I also like the idea if there was some sort of negative to that. Like maybe you've got 50 splinter coins in one card, and maybe you get, 25 back or 40 back or something to then spend elsewhere.
Returns.
Not because inflation, like you said earlier, these cards are not really, we don't need to be worried about print rate on these. But at the same time, it would just disincentive. It would be a disincentive to just this constant back and forth, and it'd cause caution and like thoughtfulness. But it also might mean, see, one more positive could be if I can burn X card for 4/5 of its splinter coin value to liquidate and create more buying opportunity for the new card, that's great. But then what if also if I can't quite get enough splinter coins through burning the card because some of it's lost, well then maybe I have to take to the marketplace to buy more splinter coins, like you said, burning vouchers or burning SPS or burning DC. So it would be this draw or this sink in a bigger way than if you could literally just trade at without penalty.
Yeah.
Just thinking it through though. Love it.
Yeah. Another thing I was thinking too is, like, let's say you get smaller amount of coins, you build up a common to say level 5 or level 6 or whatever. The next year comes out with all these brand new soulbound reward cards, and you're like, oh man, I love the Death Splinter and I love that soulbound legendary. You could burn a common or a rare or an epic, get the coins, grab that legendary. It gives you a lot of flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be a lot of excitement around the beginning of a season where everyone's like, oh, what are the new soulbound cards going to be? Oh, which ones am I going to keep or, burn to get coins to grab these new coins or new cards if they come out and everybody wants them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I see a couple comments from the chat that are related, so let's have a peek here. Crypto Beaver says reward cards are packs should always have an end date of availability. Once we hit the date, it's over and new sets are issued. I actually commented earlier in the video around that maybe. And I like that too. Like if there was, I think it would be more work from the devs. It's easier to make one pack and give 15 million packs out there and just let it sit and then they don't have to worry about that. But I think from a gameplay perspective and from a optics, just having the pack sit on the marketplace and then issuing a new pack, like they've done with crypto, they still have 5 million packs worth of chaos, and then they listed Rift Watchers. Neither are really selling. Then there's all these different things. I think it's a bad optics. I think we need to, whether it's 9 months, 6 months, there needs to be windows around how many packs are issued. I think maybe some sort of mechanic around reward cards like this too, where it's like it's this window of time, not 15 million copies, but this window. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Actually, that was one of the notes that I wrote down, was how to solve the print rate issue for both of them. For Soulbound, I think it should just be the cards. Oh, I guess the cards would be in perpetuity, basically. Once the set comes out, let's say January 2023, they come out with Soulbound reward cards. You can level those as much as you want for this year, next year, going forward. As far as card sets, when they come out, my idea was get rid of print rate. Completely. Just, okay, this set's coming out January 1st. Main set, you can buy it from January 1st to June 30th. We will keep a tracker on the site to show you how many sell. At the end of every month will be the airdrop. So January 31st will be the first airdrop. End of February will be the second airdrop. And June 30th, we will show you the amount of packs that sold. And that's that. July and August, no packs. So you've got a 2-month cooldown. And then starting September 1st, the mini set will come out, be available for 3 months, September, October, November. At the end of November, no packs for December, to just kind of give a little bit of space until the next main set comes out the following January. So that way you've got a little bit of cooldown, no packs available for each set, to give people kind of a breather and, a chance to, just not spend any money and not have to worry about that.
Yeah, I like.
I really don't understand why they have print rates to begin with, because we can see the problems it caused with Chaos Legion.
Yeah.
I mean, they committed to 15 million packs. What if the 15 million packs had sold out the first month?
Yeah.
Then we would have nothing for months.
Yeah.
And as we saw, they printed too many, and now they're talking about burning. Well, if you don't have a print rate that you put out there, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about burning packs. You're basically print to demand.
Yeah.
And Magic the Gathering has done this for 30 years.
Yeah.
They still have investors. They still have collectors. They still have players. So my idea is just completely get rid of how many packs are available, set your release dates, and just let it fly.
I like it a lot. And I think it would have implications that are worth discussing, but I think it's beneficial because look at what happened with Untamed and with Dice. They ended up being, when they were sold out, we were not ready to release new ones. And there was a period of time where cards prices were blowing up because we had exuberance and FOMO, people entering the system and needing cards, and there were none to buy. And so that is perhaps beneficial to holders of assets. It's not beneficial to the long-term growth of new players entering the system. You always, I think, want to have assets that are available, or a scheduled release of assets where people can say, okay,
Yeah.
in 3 months, I'm going to be able to get the next set. There's a hiatus right now, but I'll just chill. I think that is better from like a new player perspective, which is better for a long-term game perspective. And Yellow, who again, another one of the guys that supports the channel all the time, comments tons of great stuff. He goes, Tails had a good idea to, in like Gods Unchained, use vouchers to craft an NFT reward card. So basically, soulbound reward cards with some vouchers become NFTs, and this is the idea I see really being. It's almost running in conjunction or maybe alongside the idea I hear you saying, which is no, soulbound reward cards should be soulbound, period. Because that's your first, tell me if that's your idea. I want to know.
Yeah.
You like never unbind them. But then if you say never unbind them, talk to me about like, because it seems like a lot of people, including Tails, who I have got respect for, and Yellow, who I have respect for, are saying like, no, like what about we just, in some ways we can unbind them? Because talk to me about that. But then remember the concern people have is you're going to take away all the rewards. So what do you have to say about that?
Well, I think if you make soulbound reward cards unbindable or sellable, you're right back to square one. But, bots will find a way around it, even if it's vouchers. They can buy vouchers and just, unbind the card, sell the card, and now we're back to square one. So I think the soulbound cards need to be permanently soulbound to your account. Like I said, and like you said, the more you level these cards through playing every day, earning your coins, building them up, the stronger your deck's going to be, the more likely you're going to win, your rank battles, and if you do guild brawls, you'll win more in guild brawls.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm kind of really heavily shying away from soulbound cards ever becoming unlockable and sellable. To me, not everything in the game should be sellable. To me, the only things that you should be able to sell in the game are things that you actually paid for, not things that you're given for free.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you buy packs, then definitely those packs and cards in those packs should be sellable. Land, totems should be sellable. I mean, you can't sell potions, and those are given to us. You can't sell merits; those are given to us. So I definitely think that soulbound cards should just stay soulbound.
Yeah, I'm with you. There is the suggestion comes out of from that side of the aisle. I think the suggestion comes out of a place where they're taking away all the rewards if they take away those reward cards that are liquid. So do you think that we should have some liquid reward cards? Should all reward cards be soulbound? Should there be kind of one type that is liquid and one type that's soulbound, or what?
Yeah, you can do one of each. You can do regular soulbound card or regular reward cards and soulbound. Just don't expect regular reward cards to ever be worth more than a penny or two.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're back in the same boat. Bots will farm the reward cards, sell them, and dump them. So you'll have one pool of reward cards that won't be worth hardly anything, and then the other pool of reward cards that are soulbound that you can't sell, but they'll help your deck and they'll help you with earnings and winning games.
Yeah, I love that. I'm with you. That's exactly where my head's at too.
The only thing is, it's just more stress on the team. Now they got to come up with two sets of cards every year, one soulbound set and one, sellable reward card
Yeah.
set. So it's just more demands on them.
Yeah, and if that's, I don't know if that's navigatable, or if that's too big of if that's a bridge too far, technically speaking. But if it's possible, I think that it is beneficial for a million reasons. And I think it has some implication for the bot armies, dissuading or at least providing less, like I said, neutral to them at least, and maybe negative to them at best. Because I think I would like to dissuade bot farms, as everybody I think agrees, except for the bot farmers. And so
I have a couple ideas for that.
Yeah, I think this is part of it though. And I think interestingly, if you had a good amount of soulbound cards that were available for your time and attention, then I think we start to, one of the also simultaneous concerns, like I've been alluding to, who are critical of soulbound cards are critical because they feel it will take away the rewards and that'll hurt the new player experience. But here's the thing, soulbound cards in my mind are a benefit to new player experience, because it means you can accumulate assets that allow you to receive rewards, cards that you can play with, that are not going to be starter cards, that are not going to diminish your the reward points you earn for play. They're not going to diminish
bonuses.
You get bonuses. So it's this asset you can literally earn through time and attention that we can give away for free, almost like you said. I'm going to say carelessly, but you said like we don't need to be worried about print rates because there is no economic implication for there being too many copies of card X if it's soulbound forever. And I think as a result, we can hand these out as often as, like, again, on cycles and through windows within the year. Like maybe it's a 90-day cycle for in conjunction with a season pass, 4 season passes per year, maybe a season pass is $20. You play daily, you earn cards for free. Those cards are yours permanently. They're on your account. They're giving you bonuses to the reward points. So new players are earning assets for the price of admission. Like that would be setting up a price to play that's truly a price to play. Right now, to be fair, and one of the critical comments that Juan guy made in his video was, look, it's free to play, you say, but then you're going to spend $10 to get any sort of rewards, and frankly, you need to spend hundreds more to be competitive and thousands more to really have and that's not untrue. I mean, there's truth to that. That is part of what Splinterlands is, and I actually think that's actually a benefit, not a bug. But people who are new and who have no money are going to see that as a hurdle to get involved. This soulbound option could be a thing you enjoy the game playing it, you're liking it, and you're accumulating collection power, cards to play with, resource point bonuses, all for free. Not for free. You have to pay $20 to get your season pass, which starts this whole thing going. But man, relatively for free. And like Apex Legends, which I've said before, if you could do things where they give you play your season pass costs $20, or let's say 20,000 splinter coins or whatever, or however many. You said they're 5 cents each, so $20 divided by 5 cents each, that many splinter coins to buy a season pass. And then within the season pass, you're going to get not just soulbound cards, not just maybe skins or aesthetic things that are just cool to have, but you're also going to get splinter coins. In my mind, this is part of the puzzle too for new gamers. You're going to get splinter coins for that time and effort. And in Apex Legends, if you spend $20 to get a season pass, you're actually going to receive, I think it's about 1,200 Apex coins before the end of the season if you play all of the dailies that they give you. And those splinter coins Apex coins are equivalent to you being able to buy your next season pass for free, and have a little bit left over to spend on skins or whatever. And so that sort of mechanic would be one where it incentivizes significant increased play by real humans daily, commitment to regular play so you get those benefits and bonuses, rewards for the lowest level with one sticker price that truly opens the doors. And yeah, of course, you always could commit more to buying packs, to buying expensive cards to climbing your deck and fighting at the highest levels. That's always going to be there with a game like this. But I think it opened the door to a new player experience that would be better. Do you have any thoughts on any of that?
I don't really know a whole lot about the Battle Pass, like the specifics to it, but the basics that I've heard about it, I really, really like. And I know Weird Beard has talked a lot about it, and he's pushing for it, and I hope it goes through. I do like the idea of, you pay, like you said, 20 bucks or whatever for the Battle Pass, and through, like you say, time and attention, playing every day, you can earn enough points or level enough or whatever the case may be to earn the next Battle Pass. And then that process keeps going. Work on the next season, level up, earn enough points, get the next Battle Pass, because that just engages players to play every day, gets them into the game, makes them feel like they're achieving something, and you always want, that next level, or you want that next skin, or that next new card, or whatever the case may be. So it keeps you playing on a constant level, and I think that's good. Plus, it would be revenue for the team that they can kind of know and kind of plan on. It's like, hey, we know we're going to sell X amount of battle passes every month, so that would help with revenue rather than just packs. So I think battle passes are a great idea.
I think the two work together so well, because I think you could have, I think it is another part of fighting the bot thing, where if there was a KYC component to a battle pass, it's optional. You don't need to have it. You don't need to fight for these reward cards if you don't want. But I think if you tie them in together, I think we really start to push against the bot farms. And then Soulbound, like you said, remains Soulbound. I think that pushes against the bot farms. You said you had a couple other ideas when I mentioned the bot farms and dissuading them. Did you have something that you wanted to comment on there?
Yep, I have two comments. One is basically one that's right in everyone's face, and I think everybody kind of knows it, but hasn't really talked about it. And the other idea I kind of just came up with, and probably will get a lot of backlash, but it's something that I think people can talk about and tweak and just kind of think about. The first point, and I think it's kind of an obvious point to get rid of the bot farms, is can't we just have a cap on how many games you can play every 24 hours? I mean, basically.
Yeah.
And the numbers I was thinking of is, like, if you're bronze and you're a new player, like I have a $10 account that I play, just kind of, I put 10 bucks in, I'm not going to spend any more money, I'm not going to give it any assets from any of my other accounts, I just want to see what I can do. I never play anywhere near 50 matches a day on a bronze account.
Yeah.
So why don't we set like a bronze cap at 50, silver cap at 75, cap at 100. If you're in diamond and champion, play as much as you want.
Yeah.
Because there's really no reason to play more than 50 matches a day anyway. You're going to burn your ECR down, and you're not going to be earning that many reward shares for chests anyway.
No,
I think the main thing, and what do bots do? They play 24/7. Well, this limits it. Okay, you can only play, 50 games in 24 hours on bronze, and then, boop, you got to wait 24 hours before you can start playing again.
Yeah,
So,
because also one of the things that bots are able to do is move around assets or rent assets to give collection power to certain decks that let them then play for a window of time. Let's say 48 hours. Rentals, if you're renting cards right now, you have to rent them for 2 days. So 48 hours from the time you rent a card to the time that, at minimum, that rental will expire. It's kind of guaranteed for that window. It has to be paid for that. It has to be honored to that from both ends, from the renter and the rentee. Which means that if you're supplying assets to a bot to grind, you can provide them assets and turn them on for 48 hours, play every second, play every 2 minutes or minute or whatever it is, submit your team. And they do. So that means like thousands of games a day for 2 days. And you're going to, of course, you're going to burn your ECR to the ground, but they don't care because they can then, those rentals are going to expire and they can go to a bot number 2 and bot number 3 and rotate while the ECR is recharging. And to me, that reflects a problem. And I think you're totally right. Like, why? And I've heard people talk about this, and I've talked about this, but it actually just it hasn't stuck in my head as a continued, let's talk about this again. Like, why don't we have that? Like,
yeah, why don't we? I mean, I would love to have a poll. Maybe you can do a poll on your channel, Dwayne, and just post it and let it run. How many games do you play per day, and what league are you in? Just on average. Just I'm just curious. Because
I'm
like I said, I try to earn 8 to 10 chests a day on my 3 accounts. I never play more than probably at most 30 to 35 battles in silver. And in bronze, I have some cards rented. I can play 10 or 12 matches, get 8 or 10 chests, and I'm good.
gonna do a let's see, ask him.
Just kind of a range. I mean, I know people don't know specifically, oh, I played 37 matches today, but just kind of a range. Do you play 20 a day, 30 a day, 50 a day?
Right now, I want to see if they even support a cap limit of games played, and we'll see what they. I just dropped that in the chat, guys. And I'd want to understand, like, if the answer is like a resounding no or a resounding yes, I'd really want to understand.
Yeah, why wouldn't you want a cap limit?
Yeah, like what I don't see I don't think anybody plays more than, well, other than bots doing what I just described. There are times where I will have nothing to do and I will play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe 50 games, maybe 60, but that's a lot of play.
Yeah, let's say 3 minutes per match if you have to wait the most amount of time, 20 per hour. So you play for 8 hours straight. That's what, 160, something like that. I mean, that's 8 hours straight. I don't know too many people that do that. I mean, and like I said, 75 is just kind of a number I threw out there for silver. Make it 100, 120. Just don't let it be multiple hundreds or multiple thousands of games that a bot can play in a day. I don't see any reason there wouldn't be a cap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a big winner. I can't at least imagine why you would have anything bad to say about that, except for, but then my bot armies can't play as much as I want them
to. And my second point, which I know people are not going to like at all, like I said, I haven't really thought this through for all the implications and how it would unfold. Just kind of off the top of my head, one way to limit bots, I think, would be, what if you took all SPS out of rank rewards and loot chests, and all that SPS pool got moved to guilds and tournaments?
I mean, I love it, but
I know people are gonna hate it. It's gonna be like, oh, I can't earn. It's like, yeah, you can earn. Join a guild.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost you anything to join a guild. If you're new to the game, you're gonna want to join a guild because you're gonna want to interact with people that have played the game, can teach you the game, how to build a deck, how to rent, how to use the market. Like I said, most people that are in guilds, I would assume, are people. I mean, maybe there are some bot guilds, but to my knowledge, most people that play tournaments and guilds are actual people, not bots. So you would be giving that SPS to the players, not the bots, because basically anything you give away in a loot chest that's sellable, the bots are going to exploit, whether it's cards, SPS, whatever. So you want to move sellable assets to people that you know are actually people, not to bots. So to me, it's like, hey, let's get them out of rank rewards, let's get them out of loot chests, move it over to guilds, move it over to tournaments where we know people are playing. And the great thing about it would be, if you're in a guild, you just saw a double or triple in your SPS earnings if they move all the SPS over.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's I
know it's rough. It like I said, I know a lot of people are not going to like that idea, but I'm just trying to think for the long-term survivability of the game, if that might be something that they might lean to. And maybe they just do it for certain leagues. Maybe they just take the SPS out of bronze, since that's where most of the bots are. So like if you're in silver and above, yeah, you'll still get SPS and loot chests and rewards. But, if they want to solve the bronze bot issue, that might be something they can think about.
I think that would be, it might, so I suspect that would have a beneficial impact on the bot farms. I also feel certain that there would be massive outrage over the implication of that, because it would be in the view of most of our community, not most of our, a loud majority of a community have the opinion that the rewards are constantly being nerfed and nerfed and nerfed and nerfed. And it's like, it's this ever changing goalpost where people want to know, I've said this before, I think people want to know where they stand. Like, what do the rewards look like? If I want to grow what I'm doing here, I want to know that the foundation is firm. I don't want to be like quicksand where it's all changing all the time. Maybe that would be beneficial. I don't know that I would need to really kind of see the details of that, but I'd be nervous about that for one.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, it's just an idea that I threw out there, and like I
Yeah.
said, I know a lot of people won't like it and it won't be popular, but like you said, with bots, it's like, what do you do? I
Hmm.
mean, anything you give them away, they're going to take advantage of it. So,
I liked what I heard recently on the town hall, where Nifty was saying, look, if you want to use Nifty Arcade, you can't be botting. And we have ways of knowing, and we will ban you for that. And and then Aggie said, I like this. He goes, I like the fact that the at the private level, at the third party level, we have this disincentive, we have this because the community doesn't like that, and the business Nifty can make that call, and fans will either support them in droves because they like how they operate, or not support them because they hate how they operate. That's financial incentive. That's free market economics. um, to me, that is a great thing because it actually means they have one less way to step into the game. And I think we have one more, human players have one more way to step into the game. And if you don't know what Nifty is, guys, you can rent a deck of cards. There aren't enough of them out there yet, but Nifty is growing. They will rent you a deck of cards through an agreement with the person who has cards to supply, and you pay nothing up front. You just commit to earning with those cards. And for the window of time you earn, you agree to pay a certain proportion to the player. It's actually not even like you paying them. It's actually the system will automate, and maybe it's a 50-50 split, maybe it's an 80-20 split. The system will automate the value of rewards earned across the season and divide them amongst the provider of cards and the player with those cards. And I think that is an amazing door opening for new players. Also, I think there's a ton of things like this that can be this incentive to new players, and that are going to grow what new players have access to, but that are going to accumulatively dissuade bots. And so I guess it's just, to me, it's like a slow and steady thing. And it's not like one big moment of like, let's quote unquote ban the bots, or let's dramatically revolutionize the reward structure. Even soulbound reward cards, in my mind, that's a big change, but it's not a revolution so long as we allow other reward cards to exist. And like you said earlier, let them just understand they probably aren't going to be the most expensive cards ever. They're going to be cheap because there's so many of them, but you still want them. You still want them because they have some financial value, and maybe they help you earn rentals and whatnot.